We need to get them. Yeah. Maybe how we do it back in the environment.
Yeah, 12:30 to 1, so they're ready at 1:30 to go. Because the staff's doing the warm-up, so they'll run it for 15 from 1:30. Yeah, yeah.
My name's Ashley Norman from Badminton Australia, the Performance Pathway Manager.
Hi everyone, I'm Renuga Viren. I am the new National Development Junior Coach for Badminton Australia.
Yeah, there wasn't any real cohesive structure in place. I think everyone was sort of almost left to their own devices a little bit. Even the states were a little bit, they were sort of delivering programs, but my sense was that there was no cohesion and that sort of working together. So one of the things we really wanted to do was try and provide a real framework, a high performance framework and a structure for the sport that everyone could contribute to and be involved in.
So I actually moved to Australia for badminton. So I'm from Malaysia originally, very popular sport across all over Malaysia, but we chose Australia because of the opportunity that we could get here. So my pathway, I suppose, was moving here, trying to play all the national events, eventually getting world rankings up and then getting into the Australian national team. But back in the days, obviously, the funding was not a lot. There was a lot of players trying to get through the system. The system itself, it wasn't very clear. There was not a development pathway that was created back then where players knew what to do, what tournaments to play. It was all more individual effort, I suppose. And I was quite fortunate that I had a bit of a background and my family was into sports, so we kind of knew what events to play, how to gain the world ranking. Predominantly, our financial support was my dad. So our parents, we were lucky that we had that support from the family, and for many years we paid everywhere, tournaments, training. We had difficulty accessing gyms because obviously again the cost that was involved, and then slowly we managed to get into the national team where we only provided a training center where we do on-court stuff, which was great. But I suppose to be a national at the national level, you need a full training environment. You need on-court session, strength and conditioning, nutrition, travel subsidy, and obviously the funding plays a big role, which we didn't have back in the days, but we came through that. So that was my journey, and it was a long one to get to the London Olympics, but definitely worthwhile, but not as easy as what it is today. So.
You can start, you can go, just mix it up, just different groups. Alright, let's go.
We looked at individual sports, like swimming, golf, surfing, lots of individual based sports, that what they do in terms of where their athletes are based. And so I did a real good cross section. In fact, I looked at those key sports, but also a good cross section of sports as well, just to understand sort of what worked and what didn't work. But also, like I said before, internationally as well. So I looked very closely, for example, at the Danish system. They've got a very good club-based system that then links into a more performance type national training centre. So that model has worked quite successfully. World-class athletes all started with their local coach, club, school or centre. So we wanted to reflect that in the performance pathway. But the first step we wanted to then look at to really drill down to that state level, identifying good talent around that, 10 to 14 years of age as a guide, to be able to identify young so that we can obviously then transition them through the pathway. So at that state level, we've worked closely with our state associations to set up a state squad type structure, where that's where athletes just come in for some sparring, generally about once a week, just for some good sparring with some other athletes of a similar standard. but also the main objective is them to train with their local coach and their local club. Also connected at the state level, we've got state-based camps, which are for those better younger cohort of athletes, which we'll work with the states on to again provide education and development for the athletes and coaches. So they're probably two of the key initiatives at that state level, which really gives us a good understanding of the base of talent that we have. The next progression there is our national development program. So as they start to reach a high national level, I've gone through their state level, they're starting to reach a high national level, that's when we start to introduce them to the national development program. And that's where we support them through a number of initiatives like camps, our pathway camps at the Australian Institute of Sport, to educate them on world standards and benchmarks. But also in between that is work closely with their DTE and their local coach through our IPP, which is our individual performance plan, which each of the athletes will have, and we'll work with the coach in tracking and monitoring that development. The next progression is our national senior program. So that's as they've transitioned through the junior pathway, had some international success on the junior level, and then we transitioned into our senior program. So similar structure to the junior program, heavily camp-based. Athletes are based in their DTE, but they also come in for camps throughout the year, which is predominantly based at the Australian Institute of Sport. And at the same time, we work with their coach in terms of their DTE and also their individual performance plan. And then ultimate goal is obviously transition into Olympic level, up into our Olympic squad, Commonwealth Games, really onto that world stage. So that's the key progressions, if you like, from that real club level right through to the Olympic podium level. And then underpinning that structure, as I mentioned before, we've got our performance pathway partners. So that sits right across the whole pathway. So that's where we educate our coaches, our clubs, our schools on high performance. And that's reflected right across the pathway because all of those athletes are probably connected to a performance pathway partner. They don't necessarily have to be at that stage because we're really growing the program, but ultimately that will underpin our whole pathway. And then you'll notice sort of underneath that too, we've also, what are the other key drivers for a successful high performance system? We know coach development is really important, so that's reflected in our structure. Also sitting under that is our competitions as well. So our national and international competitions. We know the importance of athletes competing in sort of state-based events, national, and then on to international events.
Yeah, just use your wrist. Less swing back.
So not too long, okay? I'm looking for consistency, but also speed to get down.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of I want there to be a rally. Yeah, it has to be a little bit hard work, this one.
So if you make a mistake on the serve, you lose the point. Yeah.
Fast, keep it fast. Fast. Last one, fast. Ready? So move fast.
So the current system that's in place for the juniors, is a decentralized system, and that is going to work quite well for the junior development athletes. Particularly, they're all in their own states. They have their own training environment. They can go to school, still have a good on-court hours, and they got gym access. They can really develop a plan where it's going to work for them. Whereas it's quite difficult to expect the junior development team to have a centralized system. And my job predominantly is to manage this pathway. I'm going to help them in kind of build a good program for them in their own DTE, so that they can have a solid on-court gym, nutrition if possible, and that eventually will get them to produce good results when they go to competition.
Okay, now, but if you turn the outside of the feather out like this, okay, you turn it out, slow the shuttle down, okay, because they are quite fast. But if you can defend these shuttles in this hall, you can defend any shuttles in any hall. It's hard to see in here, fast shuttles.
Look, ultimate goal is to really, obviously we'll review as we go. Every good high performance system reviews, and you'll tweak and adjust to make sure that you continue to head in the right direction. But look, ultimately we want to produce at the really highest level. On the world stage, that's really ultimately what we're trying to aim towards. We're mindful that we've got to take steps, small steps. Where we've come from, we can't jump too far ahead. We've got to get the foundations right first that are going to set us up for the future. But I hope at that time, and look, there's real positive signs that the Olympics will be in Brisbane in 32, so it gives us a real good window of time too to obviously get some success leading up to that in Commonwealth Games, on the world stage and world tour, but then ultimately onto Olympic level. So that ultimate goal would be to have Australian badminton athlete standing on the podium at Olympic level by 2032.
So I suppose the ultimate goal, for the junior development is really what we can create in, everything takes time. So being an athlete that's competed on the home ground at the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games, it's just a really different experience to be able to compete on your home ground. So to be able to get someone now that we are coaching, those 13, 14-year-old players that that are in the squad at the moment, to be able to produce something, to experience something like that, I think that will be just something amazing to be able to achieve. So predominantly that's what we will try to aim. We'll try to nurture and build these junior players so ultimately they can get to the senior level and experience all these big events themselves.
No, I think this is just a real opportunity for the sport to be able to really, everyone has contributed towards this new system. Everyone's had the opportunity to be involved, which is great. So it's not just Badminton Australia, it's the badminton community that have contributed putting this together. And now it's a matter of us all working together to be able to deliver on that, because we know we can't do it all ourselves. This is where we need everyone's support to be able to do that, and look forward to working with everyone to achieve that success.